Hello everyone, welcome to this video from the Tradelands Nation, reporting dockside at the island of Whitecrest instead of our usual location at the studio in the Red House at Whitecrest Harbor. This is our monthly world report, and as always, we start with a look at the economy. As of the closing bell on February 28th, the MNG index ended at 28,465, up 2.5%. This change reflects the close of the winter season, the return of electro steel mining, and the introduction of hard steel to the economy. The JSI closes at 16,065, up 433 points, a gain of 2.7%. This is owed to the strong performance of the wood market in the past month, including the re-release of ebony and heartwood for a limited time. And finally, the FEGRM earnings index saw a drop of 4.41%, a total of 2,248 points, closing at 50,933. This offsets many of the gains that the other two indices have made, leaving the economy flat overall, but showing some strength in the raw materials and grinding market segments. The lack of no meaningful trade items released during the Valentine's Day event coincides with the overall decrease in the earnings index. While the three pricing indices may have ended flat for the month, the Economic Trading Commission, also known as ETC, reports $1.3 billion in economic activity occurring last month. This beats the overall expectation for the month and continues to show the market strength is about 2 times higher than where it was last year. Moreover, the flat pricing index shows that the growth is not due to runaway inflation like it was last year, overall providing confidence that the economy is stable and healthy as we come even closer to the expected April and May months. March and April tend to be the calm before the storm in Tradelands, when updates slow down and the traders shift from selling items in a reactionary market to a projectionary one. Last year, the Prshovian release of 2022 led to 6 months of recession, and what became one of the most impactful releases that would affect the economy in Tradelands in the game's entire history. The question that many traders will have to ask themselves this year is if they think a similar update will happen, or will this update be focused more on other aspects of the game. One thing market analysts have already noticed is the quiet removal of Pwnwood from many sellers' inventories of marketed items. This looks like an attempt to start a price correction on the wood. Already we are seeing at least one trade group listing it for twice its previous value. While we'd like to dismiss this as a mere fluke in price positioning, there are 2 factors which are likely driving this change. The first is that out of all of the woods the developers have re-released in the past 6 months, all but one appears to have incurred an inflationary tax, meaning that the price to purchase that item from the premium merchant has increased. Ebony's price rose to 500 tokens last month, and we project an 80% probability that Pwnwood will see the same when it gets re-released. The second is that since this wood is only available from the premium merchant, meaning you cannot get it from timber felling, prices are heavily influenced by sellers. That means if those who own significant stocks of the wood all jointly raise their prices to, say, 5,000 per piece, then the entire market will have to adjust to this price as well. So while there is reason to believe that the price correction for Pwnwood may stick around, it's really up to the current owners of the wood stock to determine how they want to proceed. And of course, the great equalizer will come when the true price of the wood is revealed, and that is when it makes its return to the premium merchant. And when that happens, prices will adjust accordingly. In other news, the Narluminati Economic Regulatory Federation, commonly known as NERF, has finally set their eyes on the Tradelands. After publishing a scathing report on multiple safety and regulatory violations by shipbuilders in the Grand Isles, they have issued an ultimatum to make shipbuilders either get their shipping up to code or risk the closure of all seagoing activity in the region. Of the many violations cited, the top 3 that were mentioned were implementation of illegal cargo holds and smuggling compartments screwing with cargo capacity ratings, unsanctioned use of bulkheads and hull compartments that violate the health and safety code, a multi-page report of OSHA violations by invisible parts and unanchored objects endangering crew safety. Analysts report that this is likely to impact the performance characteristics of several ships, Already, shipwrights are announcing that there will be a complete recall of the Serpent and the Neptune due to their many, many violations. Owners of these ships are being given free upgrades to the version of the ship that meets this new stringent nerf code. In our own introduction to these ships, we already see some important changes. For example, the Serpent, famous for its use of hidden bulkheads, is already faster in the water. It also has a pivot point that is further to the rear, which should, on paper at least, make it easier to disengage from bow locking. It also meets the OSHA requirement for higher bulwark walls in the main deck, after reports of drunken sailors falling overboard while the ship was at sea and it was deemed a safety hazard. But the constant introduction of new ships, or redesigned ones, is definitely providing a positive outlook for players. The steady performance of the wood market is due to this constant release of new ships, which is providing a constant state of demand for wood and iron. It remains to be seen how long this momentum will continue, but for now at least it looks like we can expect more ships in-game over the next few months. In other world news, the war between Nova Balreska and Blackwind Cove is over. With Blackwind's capitulation, the whole realm of the Tradelands is now heading for an uncertain future. Nova's commanders continue their reign of terror across the Grand Isles, and with Blackwind Cove now subordinate to their whims, no one seems left to oppose them. Is it possible that this is the new dark age of Nova dominance, and will it ever end? Regardless of the answer to that question, life on Whitecrest will go on. The outlook may be bleak as the scourge of Nova continues to ravage the world, but here, the concerns of the remaining free traders of the Tradelands remains focused on issues that are closer to home. Rumor has it that when a group of Blackwind survivors landed on Whitecrest, they demanded access to the fort on Whitecrest to make their new headquarters. It is rumored that King Zack, ever perceptive of a lucrative opportunity, sold the fort to them for an undisclosed amount, and with the agreement that Blackwind would protect the good citizens of Whitecrest in the event of an invasion. To quell the riotous rabble of citizens who thought King Zack had just sold them out, he quietly quoted Poseidon's fury. "Look at them, there, nearing Whitecrest shores, where we are fated to escape this noose of pain that has held us until now." Many took this as a sign that King Zack had secretly not sold out his people, but instead was aware of a grander plan, perhaps to replace that crumbling fort. Perhaps this was a sign that the fabled Whitecrest Tower, featured so prominently on the Whitecrest flag, was about to return. But such questions about the future are for a different day. As I stand here at the docks of Whitecrest, I can say with 100% confidence that the people of Whitecrest are so thankful for King Zack's decision to have such a beloved and supportive group of skilled Blackwind Protectors watching over our ships. Sure, they can board us and inspect our cargo, but they're only doing it to protect us from this hazardous cargo that might endanger our ships and our lives. We should all be so happy they're here, patrolling our streets and boarding our vessels, and of course keeping a watchful eye on everything we do and say. I know it sounds like I'm being coerced into saying this, but I assure you, I'm as sincere as I can be about this at the moment. So yeah, that will do it for today. Thank you all for watching. Happy trading, everyone.